Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Joshua Suli-Ruka here, your host of the Impact Podcast Show. Now, before we start, I'd like to always give gratitude and thanks to everyone that has been tuning into the Impact Podcast Show. If you're listening through Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but if you're on YouTube, I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and make sure you consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Now, before I do introduce our next special guest, I'd like to state our mission, and our mission is simple. Our aim is to focus on the one and impacting the one. And so, that's the reason why we bring special guests on board, is to make sure that, the special guests are adding value to you to make you the best version of you. So I just wanted to state that quickly. But now we're going to get straight into the podcast session. And guys, before I introduce our next special guest, if I had to be real, there's been boys that I lead at in certain areas, and they've been talking highly about this guy. And I was thinking about, okay, what can we do in terms of impact, and what can we bring to the table? So I thought about bringing someone a lot more different compared to the other people that have been on board. This guy is an upcoming superstar coming up in the ranks in the Rugby League scene. If you don't know, he's currently at Canberra Raiders. Still at Canberra Raiders?
Yeah.
So he's still at Canberra Raiders at the moment, and he's been playing exceptional footy. I haven't actually watched him, but I've seen a bit, and a lot of the boys that I hang out with talk highly and see him as a role model. So the purpose of me bringing him on board is so that we can hear his story and hear out his background. And so, guys, I want you all to please welcome Trey Mooney.
Hi guys, name's Trey. Just a little bit of a background on myself. I'm currently 18 at the moment. I was born and raised in Western Sydney. I'm out in Liverpool myself. From the area. I grew up going to Westwood Sports High School. Year 9. That's probably where a few of the boys that know me from. I guess for me, footy's always been a part of my life. It's always been a massive thing for me. But it's never been one of the other major focuses for me as well. I think part of my life has always been, the church life for myself, and just having, other places where I can go to besides, that realm where I am. Anything else about myself at the moment? So I'm currently, I'm living down in Canberra at the moment. Currently just back in Sydney due to the whole COVID-19 situation at the moment. But yeah, just slowly, enjoying myself, enjoying my footy, enjoying my time here, and yeah, definitely.
No, sweet as, bro. See, the thing I like about this guy is he already done the intro before I even said it. Which is all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. Now, bro, I just want to say, bro, I appreciate you jumping on board, and I appreciate you even too, introducing who you are. So, guys, Trey's actually from, Western Sydney, from the Western Sydney area, but he's currently residing in Canberra, due to his footy. So, the reason why I wanted to bring him on board is because, this guy I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but he just finished high school. He just finished high school last year.
Yeah.
Yep. So he just finished high school and he went to Westfield Sports, one of the greatest, sports high schools in Sydney, let alone Australia too. He has a pretty good background. But for me personally, I wanted to bring him on because just like anyone in the world, we all have a story. We all have a story to where we are now. I've been seeing this guy, pop up on my newsfeed, let's say left, right, and center, in terms of his footy. Even just, if I had to be real, just even his training. I've been seeing a bit of, his training and stuff coming up, and it's just some of the boys sharing on their feed and sharing a lot about this guy. And I was like, I want to get him on board because I want to ask him, how did he become the way that he is? And I guess for the Impact Podcast Show, our goal is to utilize special guests, people to jump on board, to share their stories, to help you guys out. We want to be let's say a podcast show that have the stories to the people that are influences to you, to the people out there. So, yeah, man, I'm excited, bro. I'm actually keen as I've been, thinking about, certain things to chat about. But I guess, man, one thing I believe in is that, before the glory, there's always a story. And I say that in every podcast because I believe in it. I believe that, before you became who you are, there was also a story that that had made you. There was a process that you had to go through. And so in this podcast, man, I just want to dissect you, man. I want to go through, some of the tough times that you had, some of the highlights that you had, so that it can really encourage people. So, let's get into it.
Yeah, man. So basically, if I'm giving like a little brief rundown of my story, my life at the moment and where it's sort of taken me, I guess it all sort of started when I was, I think it started when I was about 10 years old. And at 10 years old, man, I remember having a conversation. My father, I just started playing footy then. I just started playing footy. Just started sort of, approaching and as at 10 years old, I knew I always wanted that. At 10 years old, I knew I wanted to be an NRL player one day. That was always the mindset, always the goal for myself. And I remember at 10 years old, it was coming up to my birthday, and my old man asked me, he goes, what do you want for your birthday? I was like, can I have an award that says to Trey Mooney, our best rugby league player in the world. And I remember thinking about that and looking at that, and I didn't realize it until years later that was me prophesying my own future. And I thought that was one of the things for myself, that it wasn't that, as I knew at 10 years old what I wanted to do. It never changed for me. It wasn't a question. And every time, everywhere I go, if I go on camp, if I go on, on tours, whatever it is, I always bring that with me. Always keep them up so I can still see that and see the goal, because I always a big believer that if you can see something, you can believe it.
100%.
You know what I mean? So that was like one of the things for me that I guess even just at 10 years old, that's where I knew where I was sort of on my journey to, I guess, to playing NRL, not just playing NRL, but to be great. And, that's always something but for me, it's never been about when I'm going to, it's not about if I'm going to play NRL, it's when I'm going to play.
100%, bro.
And it's always been that sort of mindset in backing myself. And it's always, driven me. So every morning when I wake up and I see it beside my bed or, whatever it is, it's a goal, and that's something I've always kept. And that's something where I guess where it's always started, the whole drive and the aspiration to be big. And I guess in that instance, and I can only think of like a handful of moments where in my lifetime where I believe, I've been put on this path for a reason. And I guess like I explained, and it's one of the biggest things I believe that, a lot of people don't have these days is that they never had that moment of that clarity moment where they go, I know what I'm supposed to do and I know, why I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess
I love it.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, I guess where else does my story take me? I guess like I say, I always had a few key moments throughout my life where I believed where I was put on this journey, to do great things. I guess another one was when I was I was turning 15. I remember I was turning 15. And, and I've always been going to church my whole life. I've always been a devout Christian. I think it wasn't until I was 14 to actually, became, a born again Christian myself.
Yeah, come on.
And then, so it was about, I remember I was, where was I? Oh, I was at, I think I was at a Hillsong night service with a few of my boys. It's one of those times of year where they do, we've got, like athletes night where, they bring in, if you're an athlete, you come in and they're going to pray for you and stuff. And I remember I was sitting there, and that night we know that everyone, bow your heads and we'll pray for you here. I remember sitting there, and as we're being prayed for, it was like I had I don't know how to explain it, but at the time I didn't know, but it was a sort of like a vision of the future. Sitting there closing my eyes, and I seen myself in an Australian jersey. Under this awning on some particular field. I couldn't tell where it was at the time. Some field, the time of day, the sun was setting. It was late afternoon. Where I was standing on the field, and I remember after the prayer finished, I looked at my mate beside me and I was like, "Oh, Sione." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "At the end of the year, man, I'm gonna make Australia." And he goes, and this is like 6 months before. He's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
One of those ones. And then, and it was at that moment where, and then it wasn't until 6 months later where the under 15s came around, and I had my name called out, in the Australian team. And I remember when I put on the Australian jersey and I was standing there, I remember almost like deja vu. I remember the exact moment where I was standing on the field, the awning, the time of day, and it's all these, I guess, like these moments like that where I believe, like footy for me just isn't a path, but I believe, I was put on this path for a reason. Always believe, footy, footy for me is the easy part. This is all, but I believe I'm put on this platform for a reason, to make an impact on people. And whether it's through my actions, whether it's through the way I speak, whether it's me, I glorifying God at the end of the day, and changing someone like that. That's always been a massive thing for me when it comes to, like being on this platform in the first place. You know what I mean? And I guess for me, that didn't really hit until I think I was about 16. And and I was playing under 16s, our state of origin. And I remember I had a mate, me and him were together the whole week. His name was Sam Weller. He's a great man of God. Played for Manly himself.
Yo.
And we're together in camp the whole time, and just this whole conversation of being on a platform where you're able to glorify God and really just showcase what you have to the world. Like I've always believed I'm here for a reason.
Yeah, come on.
I've always believed, especially my word, in the book of Joshua, he speaks when he says, I'll exalt you in the eyes of all Israel. And he says, but God has to do that to him. And I've always believed that in my life, where, that God will exalt me in the eyes of all my peers and all the people around me. And I remember at the end of the game, if you think about Origin, Suncorp Stadium, biggest stage possible at that time for us when I was 16. And I remember thinking after the game, I said, and having both Origin, Queensland and New South Wales, and it didn't matter what walk of life you were from, didn't matter, what faith, what religion, but if you could sit there and all together, on bended knee saying a prayer together, with the world to see, and then, and like that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Like I said, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, doesn't matter, where you are, doesn't matter faith, religion, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, on the biggest platform in the world, I will glorify God, to the most. And I've always believed that's why I've gone so far. It's not because of my talents, or not because of my, I don't know what it is, but I've always believed it's because of my why and my reasoning for why I'm going so far.
Yeah, well.
You know what I mean? And but yeah, if I could say there was those 3 key moments that I realised why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I've always believed, like the best piece of advice I've ever got was he's from one of my trainers, and he goes, Trey, so I'm going to tell you one thing, is that you have to have a why. If you don't have a why in life, you go with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a lot of problem. I don't say the problem, but I think people wonder why, they invest so much time into something, but yet they're struggling to find, to find a headway through it, to sort of go through those levels.
Yeah.
And I said, then you've got to ask yourself, why are you doing this? I believe if your why is not greater than any challenge that you will face, then and then you are sure bound to fail. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
you know what I mean. I guess that's one of the driving forces of why I do what I do myself. Just like yourself, you say, it's all about impacting the one.
Yeah.
And that's in sense the same thing. If I can say one person's impacted or one person's changed, then and then I'm happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, bro. Bro, do you want to take over?
Oh no, sorry, bro.
Nah, it's all good, man. Nah, it's all good, bro. But I love, bro. I guess out of all the special guests that I've had on board, I've never been starstruck to be like, okay, this guy can talk. You know, he can just keep going. It's okay.
No,
Bro, hectic, man. Bro, it's good, man, because I actually got heaps I can talk about from this.
sure.
You know, which I love. Bro, I also say thank you, man. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing on a bit about your story. Like, you know, from just what I've heard, like you mentioned about at 10 years of age, bro, I love the fact that you mentioned about at 10 years of age, you told your dad, oh, can you just get a plaque or can you get like some sort of frame?
Yeah.
Bro, you're so smart, man. At the age of 10, bro,
Yeah.
you're doing something, bro. You end up doing something that not even a 40 or 50-year-old guy can do. Or they probably see as, let's say, like, just pointless. And, bro, I fully believe what you say, man, about that. Like, if the framing and, you know, having something, because, yeah, as you said, like, you have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, 100%.
And, like, for me, like, I have, like, a whiteboard here, and I just write things down. So then when I wake up, because there's my bed, right? When I wake up, bro, the first thing that I see is my whiteboard. So, yeah, bro, 100%, man. I love that. I love that you shared that because I guess there's people out there that see it as like a let's say, like they see it as a weird thing or like something like it's just pointless. And so, bro, I want to first talk about that moment. You know, that moment where you know you were 10 years old and you told your dad, "Oh, can I just get a plaque for my birthday?" Bro, what made you so driven? Like, what made you so driven to actually do that?
It was hard. It was hard to say. Like at 10 years old, you're just 10 years old. You know, you don't really know what you're talking about. But
Yeah.
you know, because I was like, you know, like because I literally this was my first year playing footy, and I was so excited and so keen to think. I remember sitting there. I was like, you know what? And I remember like I used to look up to like Darren Lockyer and stuff. Like even like I got him on that.
Yo.
Like I used to Lockyer and that, and that's always what I seen. Like you know what? I was like, oh, like, you know, I want to be like that. And I used to see Darren Lockyer as like the best in the world.
Yeah.
You know, at the time, you know, I was like, oh, you know what? I want to be like that. So I was like myself, and I was like, you know, like what's one thing, you know? I think I don't remember exactly saying to him, but I think I said it like out of a joke, and like my old man's like, you know, I took it pretty seriously, and it's one of those things that I was like, oh, Dad, can I like, you know, have a little just like thing saying, you know, Trey Mooney, best rugby league player in the world, and I remember when he gave it to me that he goes, you see this is like, he goes, this is more than just what you think it is. He goes, this will happen to you one day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I see, you know, everything that I do, everything that I achieve, one step by step to get there. You know, I believe one day it's all gonna, you know, accumulate to this one moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, you know, I keep beside my bed every, you know, so when I wake up, it's the first thing I see. You know what I mean? So I look at it and then I think, okay, you know, some mornings, you know, when you don't want to get out of bed, you know, some days, you know, when you have to go train and you know you're struggling to find the motivation. You look at that and you go, hey, that's the goal, that's the motivation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story behind it, man. To be honest.
Yeah, I love it, bro. I love it, man. Like, I guess, you know, like you mentioned that you're 18 years old now, so it's probably been like roughly 8 years since that happened, and it's crazy to see still from 8 years ago you're still doing the same thing, which is pretty good. And cool thing is, bro, it's working. You know, you know the frame, you know, having that beside your bed or you know right in front of you, and even that, bro, you taking it to everywhere you go. You know, to your camps or your tours. Like I see it as let's say. Real humbling to do that because you know you have other people that will probably just take their phone and I don't know have their quotes there or you know like you know for other people like they'll take their Bible which is good, you know, they always take, you know, certain things like that. But the cool thing about you, bro, is that you actually took something around you that you knew that was gonna help you out to become a lot better. It's like you were taking your why around you, like the reason why you're doing it. It's like because I actually want this to happen.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, man. Yeah, like I say, like man, like if you, like you said, you know, if you can see it, you can believe it. And sometimes, you know, you lose sight of those things, man. It's like man. Like to go like, you know, like you get so, you know, unraveled and everything, so caught up in things, and sometimes you need that moment of clarity. We can look at something and just go, you know, like, that's it, you know, that's why I thought, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, bro. I love it, bro. I love it, man. And so, yeah, man, like you spoke a bit about, you know, when you were growing up, 10 years of age, you said to yourself, yeah, dad, I want this, like, I want this, son. And then come to a point now, you mentioned another thing. You mentioned that 15 years, was it 15? Yeah, 15, right? You were 15 years of age and you went to a Hillsong, let's say, conference or, you know, a Hillsong night. For like specifically for athletes, and it's crazy, bro. It's crazy that you said that, man. It's crazy that you said that because you know, I got saved at Hillsong when I was 15. So
Wow.
at the same age, at that same age, I was 15 years of age. This was back in 2013. And bro, I just said, I can't do anything. Like, I want to give this all to you, God, and I did. Right, I ended up getting saved that night. At one of the conferences. Now, I don't really know exactly how it was, but I know that that's when I got saved. And it was cool that you mentioned that, bro, because like as you started speaking, I started thinking about, oh snap, like I remember the time when I got saved. It was something similar, and it was funny enough, bro. Funny, I laughed when you were talking about, you know, your vision, you know, the vision that you had, because let's be real here, bro. Like there's people out there that'll probably see you as a lunatic or see you as a weirdo, you know, you're thinking like, wait, like, no, that can't happen. And so, bro, talk to me, bro. How was the experience knowing that you had a vision? You had a vision at a Hillsong, like at a Hillsong like athlete night, and like, how did you feel knowing that you had it in you, and like, you know, in terms of the other people around you?
It was hard to say because I was like, I remember like that night, like I didn't really think much of it, and I remember when I turned to my mate, I was like, bro, I'm on it, bro. Like, you know, I'm gonna at the end of the year, man, I'm gonna play Australia. He goes, and he knocked up like, oh, okay, whatever, you know, just all that. And it wasn't until that moment where it finally happened, and I remember sitting there, I was in shock, bro. I was still sitting there. I was like, when the moment where it actually happened 6 months later, and I was sitting there, I was like, I've been shown this. I've seen that moment. And to think that, you know, that I was standing there in the exact moment where, like I said, you know, I was shown my future, and it was one of those moments where I was like, maybe I've been put on this earth a reason, like, to play footy, like, reason God wants me to do this, you know. And I've always believed that, and it's one of those things I've taken with me. And I guess, like I said, it wasn't until that moment where I was like, I was actually shown this. This was the moment where, like, all those months ago where I was sitting there, I thought nothing of it. And then to see it become, you know, from vision to reality was crazy. It just shows that sometimes it's not your own hand at work, you know. And like I said, you know, all I need to do is just put in the hard work, stay faithful, you know, and then everything else will come unto me. You know what I mean? You know, the word says, you know, first, you know, first I put first the kingdom of God, you know, and all shall be given unto you. That's, I guess, that's one of the driving forces, you know, in my life. And I think it was, like I said, it was one of those moments, like real shock moments where you're like, hey, how did that come about? But yeah, man, like that was like, now looking back at it, man, you just think like, you know, God is good, man, and truly great, man. But yeah.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I appreciate you sharing that, man, because I guess, you know, you could have said to yourself, okay, this is a weird moment. Like, this is like, I don't know, this is awkward. I don't know why I'm thinking of this. And you could have just said, you know what? Nah, it's all right. I'm not going to let it come into fruition, or you're not going to let it, like, let's say, flourish. But instead, bro, you actually chose to have a chat with your mate. And, bro, what did your mate say? I'm actually curious to know, like, you know, how did he feel about it, knowing that you were sharing that?
It was weird too, because he sort of brushed it off. He's all like, I was like, no, man, like, you know, I'm gonna make it. He looked at me and goes, oh yeah, okay. He's like, okay, well, good. And then I remember telling my other mate as well, because he was there with me that night, and he also made Australia that with me
that year.
Yeah, that year. So he was there with me that night. I told him, and he said the same thing. He goes, he goes, oh, yeah, I reckon we have a good crack at the end of the year. I was like, bro, trust me, it's going to happen, man. It's going to happen, and now thinking about it, like, even though, but like at the same time, usually if someone usually tells you stuff like that, you kind of just think, oh, whatever, like, but I guess at the time, looking back on now, I guess the fact that I was able to speak it, like to say that, at the end of the year, I'm going to make Australia. I was able to speak that vision, into creation first, I think that was one of the biggest things for me, man, because, like I said, my mate looked at me and laughed.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was all good, man. Straight up.
Bro, I laugh when you say that, bro, because there's been a lot of things that's happened in my life, and people question me like, oh, man, I actually doubted you. 100%, bro.
Yeah, all the time, man. But,
man.
We love the doubters, we love the haters, man, We thrive with that.
Bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, man, like, I remember when I used to get really intimidated by, the haters and, the doubters. Bro, I get fueled by them. I love it. Like, I love it, bro.
Best thing.
Like, I love it, bro, because, like, to me personally, bro, I always see that there's either somewhat of a, like, insecurity that they have inside of them, or there's, like, somewhat of a negativity. Like, they're probably like, oh, I don't want you to make it. And I feel like, the key people in your life, the people that actually want you to succeed will obviously tell you the truth. They won't doubt you. They'll just say, I'm going to believe in it. But obviously, if it doesn't make it, I'm still going to be there. Like, those are kind of like your let's say your main men. But 100%, bro. Like, I laugh at them, man. I laugh at the doubters and the haters. And bro, you know what? I'll actually ask you that question. Like for me, right? Like, I wouldn't say I made it to Schoolboys when I was 15, but I would say for me, my best year was probably at the age of 15. The highest level I ended up playing was Sydney Gold, which I'm guessing you would know exactly what that is.
Yeah, Gold.
Yeah. So at Toronto, in Newcastle. So for me, it was actually pretty special because I went to Fairfield. I went to Fairfield High, Fairfield High School, and I was like one of the first ever to make it that far at my school. Yeah. So, yeah, man, like I fully get you when you're talking about, you're like going out to your camps, like going there, to Newcastle, playing with the boys. But I never actually made Schoolboys, let alone New South Wales. But bro, talk to me, bro. I want to talk a bit about that. I want to talk a bit about, your success in terms of making it in Schoolboys for under 15s, bro. Like, would you say that it was tough for you? Would you say that it was tough for you to make it?
Oh, yeah, obviously it was tough. Like, like there's different stages where, like, you look around, your competition, you go, like there's a lot going on, like there's a lot of people to compete with. Like even last year, like I'm competing to go for Schoolboys again. Like you look around and you go, man, like, there's a lot of competition. Am I good enough? And I guess you got to leave no stone unturned. Yeah. That was like ever since I remember ever since I went to Westfields, man, like it was like something clicked. Like I've always been a hard trainer. I've always been a hard worker. But I remember going to Westfields. I remember it gave me a new opportunity to go even further. Yeah. So, but like every morning, 5 days a week at Westfields, I would be in the gym at 7:30 when it opened. It didn't matter. School didn't start till 9:34. 8:57. But as soon as that gym opened, I was in there. I was the first one in. And that never changed. For the 4 years I went to Westfields, that never changed. Every morning that that gym was open, I was in there. Every session I could get to, I would get to it. Every session I could get to after school, I would get to it. So, it didn't matter. It didn't matter where I was going. It didn't matter what I was doing. Is that I knew that if I put myself in a position to succeed, then what? If I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. Does it make sense? Never like I would be disappointed in myself if I knew that I could have done more. And but yet if I left, I no stone unturned. I done all the work I could. Sorry, man. Yeah.
No, all good, bro. All good.
Sorry about that. I left no stone unturned. Then you know what? I'm happy with that. That's need to know. You know what? If my best wasn't the best, then that's all right. But if I knew that I had something, left in the tank, then stuff that, man. I always say, you're better off, you're better off, aiming high and missing than aiming low and hitting. You know what I mean?
Ooh, 100%.
That's like one of the most things I live my life by. Just you're better off swing for the fences than But yeah, I guess that's one of the major things, man.
Yeah, man, I love that, bro. Bro, I love this, man. I'm loving this conversation because I love that you shared that you were the first one there. You were the first one there. Even before everyone and anyone was there. And I actually put a post up, I think yesterday, talking about the greatest opportunity that you can take in life is to work twice as hard.
Yeah.
Right, twice as hard at moments where no one else wants to work at all.
100%.
And that's what it sounds, bro. That's what it sounds by you, man. It sounds like when you're going through Westfields, you were the first one there. You were probably awake and you were probably already ready before even the coaches were there, which is totally fine because it just shows your dedication and how keen you were to actually make it. Yeah. But bro, I guess my question to you now from that, because I was similar to you. I was when it came to school footy. I was probably one of the first ones there, or I was doing a lot of extras, similar to you, bro. But, bro, my question to you, man, is that how did it feel knowing that you had a higher standard, right? You had a much higher standard than, let's say, some of the other boys that were probably chilling out at home, probably not doing as much, and they were probably coming on time or coming to training, let's say 9 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
How did it feel knowing that you were awake earlier and that you were working just as hard as them? How did you feel knowing that your standards was a lot more higher?
Ooh, I guess for me it was I guess I enjoyed the fact that I knew I was doing more.
Yeah.
Because I knew, because once I started seeing results, the results were a reflection of everything that has happened. And that's all, the countless hours of, endless work, blood, sweat and tears in the gym, blood, sweat and tears on the field, it didn't matter. Yeah. All the extra recovery stuff, all the stuff into, to diet, all that type of stuff, all the extra stretching, people don't see that stuff. And and it's funny, it's I think one of the biggest things, people, criticize you, when you start doing things right.
100%, bro. I get you, bro. I get you, man.
You start making big moves and then all of a sudden, people start criticizing you and they say, oh, because one thing I was never more talented than everyone around me. I was never faster, never stronger.
Bro.
You know what I mean?
Bro, 100%, bro.
And then...
It's good, bro. It's good.
Yeah, 100%. And then, it got to a point where I was and they asked, when people talk behind your back and you're like, oh,
yeah, man.
Why did he make this or over me and blah, blah, blah. like I said, then you got to look at me, but what's the reflection of what you're doing behind the scenes?
Come on, bro. Come on, man.
You you gotta have this understanding is that every minute, every hour you put in, every whatever it is, it's just accumulating to something bigger. Mm-hmm. You can't expect results not to put in the work behind the scenes. You can't expect that. There's talent can only take you so far, and I said, I was never faster, never stronger, never fitter. These are all things I had to work on so much more than everyone else. And eventually, it's just, like I said, things just, they pile on each other, man, and eventually it all just works up. You know what I mean?
Hectic, bro. 100%, bro. I fully believe what you say, man. Why? Because I'm doing that myself. I'm on my own journey, bro, of doing those 5 a.m. wake ups, getting up while everyone else is sleeping. And it's crazy, bro. One thing that I started doing 2 months ago was having cold showers, right? Just having cold showers in the morning, right? And getting myself in a real uncomfortable state early in the morning. And bro, 9 times out of 10, there is someone that wants to talk to me and say, bro, what do you have cold showers for? And I'm just thinking, I'm bro, you don't even know the level that I'm at right now in terms of mindset. I'm bro, this is all part of the journey. If I don't do this, you don't realize how different my day is gonna go. Or let's say, for example, training. People don't realize the reason why we train. If we don't train, then I done a video just recently. Tomorrow is the day, when the gyms start opening up, right?
Yeah.
And there's gonna be people that are going to just rush. They're gonna just rush in and be like, yes, I can't wait to get big, and try and do the the 100-meter sprint and want to kind of finish off and be all big and be all strong, and they don't realize that it's a marathon. You know, we're like this. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take a while for you to get back in. Whereas you got someone like ourselves, right, who have been training constantly. You know, that have been continuing to wake up earlier and train while everyone else is, you know, just chilling out, maybe watching Netflix and. Even that too, bro. Like we're in winter at the moment, and I already know straight away they're gonna be people that are just gonna chill out. They're not gonna train this hard because it's cold or it's, you know. I just want to stay in bed for a bit longer. But bro, I guess for you, man, what keeps you going, man? Like what keeps you going in terms of like right now? We're in this season, right? We're in the season of winter, and this is the time where people are gonna start coming back up in terms of the gym and certain things like that, bro. But what keeps you going? In terms of, you know, waking up every morning, like I know that you mentioned about your folder, your frame on the side of you, but bro, what actually keeps you going, bro? What keeps you running?
It's hard to say, man. Like I said, like I always believe, like, you know, like in having a why. So, you know, for the why for me, like I've always believed my why, you know, is to glorify God on the highest of platforms, and whether right now that's for myself, I believe it is. You know, so like and that's, you know, and that's not gonna be done, you know, sitting down. You know, like for me myself, like, you know, I have to, like I said, if you have that why in the back of your mind, I guess no task is too great. Whether, you know, whether it's getting up and going for a run, whether it's getting up for the next gym session, whether it's getting up for the next field session, you know, whatever it is, whether, you know, it's doing the extra stretching on the side, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because like I said, if you have a strong why and a good, you know, basis behind these things, then it sort of pushes you to do these things, you know, like, and like I said, if you don't have a good why, then all of a sudden these things become, you know, like hard tasks, because you sit there and go, man, like, do I really want to do this? But then at the end of the day you go, look, I need to do this. I must do this. You know, it's a want to do this because I want. This is what I need. This is what I want. You know, it's more than just you sit there and you look at it and go, oh, you know, it's just another training session. It's just another day to get. Nah, man, it's more than that. You know, it's like I said, there's reasons and there's levels to this. There's reasons why you do it. There's a why behind the picture. You know, I guess for me, man, like that's one of the biggest things. Like if I can have that why in the back of my mind all the time, and I can see, you know what, first thing when I wake up, I can see it as well. You know, then I look at it and I go, all right, I know what I have to do. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, 100%.
Nah, hectic, bro. Hectic, man. Bro, I love it, bro. I love where the podcast is going, man. And I guess at this point, bro, like, you know, you shared a bit about your story. You shared a bit about, you know, at the age of 10, where, you know, you spoke about your frame, that frame of you, Trey Mooney, like best rugby league player in the world. And then from that point, at 15 years of age, you know, going to a Hillsong night for athletes, and then getting that vision of you wearing that, you know, Australian Schoolboys jersey, and then actually that coming into fruition. And then, bro, at this point, man, I wanna get deeper, right? I wanna get deeper at this point, and not too deep, bro, to, you know, to the point where you share your deepest, darkest secrets, bro. But I wanna get deep because, you know, one thing I believe when it comes to the Impact Podcast Show is, you know, people love real, raw people. They want people to be authentic and be themselves. And, bro, I want to, like, open it up right now. I want to kind of get down into the deep end of things. And, bro, I want to talk much of your setbacks. You know, I believe that everyone has a setback in their life. You know, there's been some sort of a low light or some sort of a, let's say, a valley low season that they've gone through. And so, bro, my question to you, man, is like, you know, of your life that you've been living in, you know, like the 18 years of life that you've went through, bro, what would you say is one of the toughest, or what was the biggest setback that you had in your life?
I think for me it was I remember I won't say the exact like what happened, but I remember like something happened, you know, within my circle, like, you know, only a few people know that, but something sort of major happened within my life at the time, and I remember just going through this stage of just absolute frustration and anger, man. So, you know, like on the, like, you know, you talk to people, you know, man, I'm sweet, you know, but deep down, you know, man, like, you know, I was hurting deep down inside, man.
Oh, bro, 100%.
And because, you know, plus, you know, like, and anger's always been sort of, you know, on my release, and it's something I'm not an angry person, but those times where because I try not to show my anger, but when it happens, it happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember I was at Winnie. I was playing a club game, and I remember like something that sort of major thing sort of happened that day, and I remember I had to go to the game, and I was sort of frustrated, and I was a bit angry, and I still remember like during the game I snapped, and I remember like I went off, man. I remember like I stormed off the field, like this is mid game, man. Like mid game, stormed off the field,
Wow.
like actually lost it, and I'm like I still remember people trying to come over to me and like, Trey, really relax, like you got so much ahead of you, this, that. And I was like, you know what? In my head, I remember saying, stuff all that, stuff footy, stuff all this, that. And I remember like mid-game, I stormed off like midfield, bro. I remember like having like this ultimate like mental breakdown, man. And like that was the one instance. And then like a few weeks later again, like, so, I got into, I remember, like I said, like this is like mid-footy season, peak of everything. This is right after Origin, this is right after, like the things. And I'm sitting there, and I remember again, I was at Rouse Hill when I was playing for a club again. And I remember same thing again. I remember I snapped, like I remember someone like punched me on the ground or something, and I snapped, man. And I remember I got up and some punches were thrown, but but it was like one of those moments where like pure frustration, anger, man, just everything snapped again. Same thing, stormed the field. Like there wasn't a person in the world that could talk to me. And I remember I went through like this period of like a month or two where just being purely, frustrated and angry, just purely because of the way I was feeling, and deep down that I wasn't, things weren't going right for me. And I guess it was still, I guess I sort of surrounded myself with the right voices and the right people. I started, I sort of had to reach out to, like me personally, I reached out to some members of my church. I reached out to sort of, some closer mates of mine, like real close, those I only know, they know everything about me, and it wasn't until a time where I actually started to, unravel these things before them, where I found myself, losing this frustration and anger, started to dissipate from my life. And I guess that was one of the major things for me, because I remember it was a real bad time period for me, especially like at the time, sort of being the higher profile young player I am, that wasn't a good look. You know what I mean? Like you can imagine, high profile young player, storming off the field, losing his nut. So one of the biggest things for me, man. But just, I guess one of the biggest things was just finding the right people, man, finding the right outlets, into the right things. Don't allow it to become so much, frustrations and anger, but, just, finding the right people to turn to, man. Like definitely, like for me, that was one of the main things, man.
Wow, bro. Wow. Bro, quick questions, like just easy questions, bro. Like how old were you at this time?
This was when I was like 16. I was 16 at the time.
True. Yeah, so you said that you were 16, and you said that this was after State of Origin.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. That's actually so crazy because, bro, the only reason why I'm so like G'd up about this is because I had a similar fall to you, bro. Like, as in, I actually had a similar. Like, I wouldn't say, I stormed off the field and certain things like that, but there was a moment where I had everything. You know what I mean? Like, I had everything that I wanted. Long story short, this was me when I was 15. Like at 15 years of age, like I was at my top game ever, like in terms of footy.
Yeah,
I was playing at my best. I played Harold Mats at Para. At 15 years of age, bro. So I was obviously I was like one of the younger boys. And bro, probably top level I've ever played in terms of like my peak. And then the next year, bro, went straight down. Like I just went through this massive fall. I wouldn't say I didn't get dropped. Like I ended up playing Para. But, I got told at the start of the year that I was going to play, like I was going to captain the side. And then, bro, during the year, bro, I got dropped. And I got dropped as in, like, I didn't get dropped from the full team.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was I ended up getting dropped as in, they just put me on, they just told me that, oh, you're not playing this game. And like I was getting pissed, bro. I was like, what the heck, like, bro. I'm a high profile player that played under 15s, no, playing under 16s at the age of 15, right?
Yeah,
get to this point, bro. And next thing you know, man, like I'm the captain of the team, and I've been dropped. I've been dropped into not playing on the side at all. And bro, fully frustrated me to the days, man. Like I'm like, what the heck? And like, bro, I was like similar to you, bro, feeling like, stuff this, bro. Like I ain't gotta play footy anymore. And bro, I love that you shared that. I love that you shared that, because people feel that when you hit that point of success, or when you hit that point of like being a high profile player, that it's all cool. It's all cool there. It's all good, and you've made it. But I guess one thing that I learned, and I believe that you can vouch for me on this one, is that when you make it up on like in terms of high standards and being a high profile player, like it's actually quite difficult to actually stay there.
100%, man. Like I guess one of the biggest things, man, is that people don't understand, like especially like being sort of high profile. I guess like, a lot of stress that comes with that, man, because
100%, bro.
Expectation, like of just everything, like it accumulates. Like I remember even the second time I had my blow up. I remember the day before, like almost got jumped at like it's a footy tournament for school, man. Like and just like all these things. Like I remember just, like the day before, like, I was angry because like everyone wanted to jump me out of the game, like all this stuff, and like. And I remember just like, just one of those things where it's this tyrant, like, because, you put out so much, physically, that it takes more mentally to cope with that. And like to have those right releases at the same time as well is so important, because like I said, man, like I said, footy is the easy part. Playing footy is easy, but it's the mental side towards it is so much more important, man. And I guess this is why it's so important, I believe, especially for young Islanders, man. Like you got to find the right outlets, because or else you find
bro.
Wrong things, man.
100%, bro. And I love that you shared that, man. I love that you shared that, because people think that when you're up there, that like it's all sunshines and rainbows. It's all hectic, but you don't realize, like, all right, bro. I don't know if this happens with you, but I remember for me, man, when I was surrounded by my mates, like they would kind of be like, oh. Like, me now. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? It's like, I knew you the whole time. But because we have this status or this title, like above us, or this the accolades that we've had, they tend to feel like we're different.
Yeah, hard, 100%. I know what you mean, man. Straight up.
Like, bro, I giving up, bro. Like, if I had to be real, man, there's some people that come up to me and say, oh, like, me? I was like, yeah, bro, like, I'm just a normal guy. Like, and they're like, oh, but, like, your podcast and stuff, like, it's going higher. I didn't know that you'd know me. I'm like, oh, come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm the same person.
Those on the same.
100%, bro. And so I guess you can relate to that in terms of your footy.
100%, like especially like one thing, like you say, people come up to him like, oh, like, bro, like you still know me and stuff like that, bro. Like they need to understand that, bro, like that stuff never changes, man. Like you always remember like the people that made an impact in your life. You always remember the people who were there for you. You always remember the moments that truly made you. And and it's not moments that were on the footy field. It's moments that were away from that. It's
bro.
It's the positive voices. It's sometimes are the negative ones too. Like I said, but you sort of take this all into accumulation. Like even say, like one time's like, whether you're seeing someone from way back in the day, you still take time out of your day to say, bro, like, oh, what's happening? How you doing and that, like nothing changes like that, man. But I definitely feel that, man, 100%.
Yeah. And bro, I guess my question to you, bro, from that is, how are you able to manage it? Because I do believe that everyone manages it differently, in terms of having that high standard. Having a high standard to be like, yeah, bro, like I'm still gonna wake up at 5, or I'm still gonna be going to my training. But how do you manage it, bro? In terms of hanging out with your mates who are just, I wouldn't say low, but just wanting to be the average. Like you have the average Joes, and then you have someone like yourself that is wanting to obviously go to the next level. And yeah, man, I'm curious to know, man, like what helps you manage hanging around with people who are just average?
Ooh, it's a hard thing. So like I wouldn't like personally, like I'd never call someone like average or whatever, but like
Yeah, 100%.
but like I guess one of the biggest things is knowing your circles.
Yeah.
Like for me personally, I like to keep my circle small. I don't like
Yeah, bro.
a whole lot
100%.
come at me. And I guess one of the biggest things is like even for myself, like I remember like one of the biggest things. I remember like when I was like 16. Like, I remember this right before preseason. I ruptured my appendix and I was in hospital. And I remember like the year before, it's the year before like I made Australia and you go like into these moments where like everyone's sort of on ya, everyone's like yeah I know him, I know this, blah blah, and they're always sort of ride that wave with you, and as soon as something bad happens, they sort of fall off, and you know what I mean. And like I remember I was in hospital and like I ruptured my appendix, I had surgery, and I remember sitting there, I was like all these people that say that say we're mates and this that, I was like, where are they now?
Oh, bro.
And I remember keep simply the people that came to visit me in hospital. I was like, you know what? Like I had like a handful of people that came to visit me in hospital at that time. And I'm sitting there and go like, you know what? Those are the people I want around me. Those are my boys. That's my circle. You know what I mean? Like that's because like I said, you don't know who's on your side until you're really tested. You know what I mean? So I guess that's one thing for me is that I keep my circle small. I keep the influences, are very little, and I make sure I have positive voices around me. If like I said, if all you're talking is our negativity and and all that and all that crap as well, man, then then straight up I don't want it. You know what I mean? Like you want people not as much as you invest into them, but you want them to invest into you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Person and that's like one of the major things for me, man.
Hectic, bro. No, like, bro, I appreciate you sharing that, man. Because, like, I guess, like, when you know how it is to become a high profile player, like you wanna reach to become better. You wanna continue to lift up your standards so then you can stay, so that you can stay up the top. But, I do believe that there are people out there that find it hard. Like they find it hard to balance everything all out. To be like, oh, how can I hang out with my mates?
Yeah.
I've got mates who are just average, and it's like, how am I able to hang out with them but keep a good level? And for me personally, one thing I really love doing is just like humbling myself, like just taking making the choice out to say, bro, I am nothing. I am nothing without God, but I'm nothing when I'm around the boys. But there's always a but in it, right? I always say to myself, okay, like I'm just the boys with them, but when I'm in my own circle, like doing my own thing, like I am up to a high standard. Like I'm still continuing to lift things up, and the way I see it is, it's either you're following someone or someone is following you. Like that's the way I see it. It's either the boys are following you on your steps, or you're following them. Either way.
100%, bro. 100%. Straight up. That's real talk,
100%, bro. Man. And like this is where people gotta be real with it. They're gonna be real and say to themselves like, all right, in the circle that I'm in, like, are the boys following me or am I following them?
Yeah.
And if I had to, the way I think about it, it's like, I always think about, okay, I've got people that I look up to. I look at people that are following me, but then I've got like people that are beside me, helping me and on my journey. So yeah. I guess those are the type of people that you want in your life, right? Like you want to have people in your circle, and I love that you talked about having a small circle to keep your circle small, because I feel like it becomes too loud, it becomes too crowded when you have too many people surrounding you, and it's crazy. People are gonna get offended when they think to themselves, oh man, I thought I was part of this circle, and it's like, bro, question to yourself why you're not.
Yeah.
Like, look in the mirror and think to yourself, why you're not? Why aren't you a part of my circle? Well, check in the mirror and really checking yourself why you're not, because there's actually a real reason.
Yes. Real talk.
But I guess, bro, my question to you, man, is what made you, right, when it came to your inner circle, like the circle that you have within you, what made you choose to keep it small?
I guess for one thing that sort of led me to the making a decision like that, I want that small circles because I realized that, you know, like you only come across a few, you know, there's only truly in your lifetime, you only meet a few people that really impact you.
Yeah.
You know, like you only meet a few people that, you know, like you probably have that one mate that when he talks to you, listen, you always listen, you take in everything that he says because you know that when he speaks, when he's speaking from, he speaks from the heart, bro, because he actually.
100%.
And one of the biggest things, like I remember always just is that, like I remember like at school we used to have one of the coaches, man, he would say, you know, the problem with all of you is that a lot of you can't say no. And, you know what I mean? Like it's the real talk, and it's good. Like I talk about having a circle. The problem is a lot of people's circles these days, they have a whole bunch of yes men around them.
Oof.
You know what I mean? Like you know, we all have those mates. Oh, bro,
100%, bro.
Hey, oh, shall I do this? Oh yeah, do it. You know, like whatever. Oh, bro, do you want to go for a drink up? Yeah, do it. You know, but it's, you know, it's the ones that truly care that we're like, bro, you know, don't do that. That's the wrong decision. You know that. Like, you know, it's about having those people that can, you know, determine right from wrong around you and, you know, set you straight and also keep you accountable. Accountability is massive. Like if I'm playing up, I want someone to look at me and go, bro, you know, I'll pull your head out of your ass. Like, you know, that's the wrong thing to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just in every instance, like you got to have those mates around you to keep you in check. And like I said, if you got too many yes men around you, then all of a sudden, you know, you find yourself leading the wrong path because, you know, like I said, you know, who you surround yourself with is who you become.
Oh, bro, 100%.
I always say, and there's one thing as well, like if you look in your circle and you're not inspired, you're in the wrong place. Like you don't want to be with mediocre. You want to be with people that inspire you. You know, like there's a reason why they're there because they inspire you to be greater, inspire you to be different. You know what I mean? So, like I said, like if you look around you, man, and you're not inspired, then you're in the wrong place. So, yeah, I guess that's how I determine who's in my circle. To be honest.
Hectic, bro. Hectic, man. Nah, bro. I fully believe in the same thing as you, man. Like,
yeah.
You know, yeah, bro. It's hard. It's hard, man. It's a hard time. You know, like when you get to that point where you have to make choices. You know, to let go of certain people and. You got to think about it. And that's why, bro, I love that you mentioned about your why. Because why is so important, man. When your why is really big and it's clear too, when you have clarity on your why, then that will kind of dictate to you what decisions you make. You know, in terms of the people that you're following, you're like, oh, I don't know if I should actually be following these type of people. Not because of who they are. It's just because I've got something that I need to head towards and I can't actually have you as part of my circle, and it's hard for us to make the decisions. That's why, you know, I think about I think about people like Michael Jordan. Like people think that it would have been easy to be a Michael Jordan, bro. You don't realize how tough it is.
Yeah, hard.
You know, to be at a higher level and a higher state. You know, to be training like Kobe Bryant. You know, having a Kobe Bryant and training probably for 2 hours before even training starts. You know, having that mentality and. Bro, people just don't see it, man. They don't see it for the way. I wouldn't say that, you know. I don't want to kind of label us as like high profile, but in terms of you wanting to get to the next level, you have to sacrifice some things. You probably have to let go of, you know, like you would know in terms of diet, right? Like you have to let go of the chocolates. You know, you probably have to let go of you know, the fast foods, and you got to stay clean. You know, when it comes to your training, like you mentioned about your extra stretches, like sometimes it may mean that in the morning, instead of you going on like Instagram and feeling comfortable, I probably have to wake up and do my stretches, or even that post. You know, when you finish your game, you know, having those ice baths or having those post recoveries, like, you know, people think that it's easy because they only go by what they see, but they don't realize the things that we go through in the background. And I guess you can vouch for that, bro. I guess that you know, that's something that you can really relate to. So. Yeah, man, I want to twist it up now. You know, we've been talking a lot about the things that you've gone through in terms of your valley lows, you know, the things that you experienced, that pretty much made you who you are. And so I guess, bro, I want to talk about the things that that helped you get to that point. Like, you're mentioning about your footy game, and you feeling frustrated and like just low and just you stormed off the field, which is okay. Like, people react in different ways. But I guess, bro, like, my question to you, man, is that what was the setup for you? You went through all that stuff. What actually made you after that? Because from what I've seen, like, you end up playing, you end up making New South Wales at the age of 17. Yeah, last year. Like, you end up playing New South Wales and certain things like that. So I am assuming that you had made somewhat of progress from that. So from that situation when you were 16. Yeah. So what was it, bro? What was it that made you? What did you actually do to kind of overcome that barrier or that situation that you went through?
So for me, man, like, one thing, like, I believe, like I said, so one of the key things for me was always surrounding myself with the right people. Like, you surround yourself with positive voices, surrounding with the right people. We talked about, you keeping your circle tight.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things, like, the positive voices around you to lead you in the right direction. And I think another was how I dealt it away. I had to find other outlets. And it was, especially, like, I'm in my spiritual life, man. Like, I find myself, I'm a clearer thinker when, when I'm reading my word, when I'm, actually paying attention to these things. When I'm more frequent in church, when I'm, taking these things more seriously, because I find myself, it's just another outlet for the way I think, and sometimes, there's a few things that go on in here and in here that sort of people that they just don't get.
Oh yeah, bro.
I mean, yeah, like, what I mean? So sometimes, like, I found I had to, find outlets in that way, just being able to express myself in other ways, like, purely, like, especially for me, like, in my faith, like, I'm massive in it, like, being able to, to be encouraged in different ways, like, read my word, make sure I'm frequent in church. Like, understand these are different outlets for me. Like, personally, like, it makes me as a person, feel better, the way I think, I feel clearer, just everything about it. And, and I guess for me, that was one of the biggest things, was just having those different outlets, allowing myself to not only just be good, physically, but also mentally and spiritually from, away from footy as well. So that was one of the biggest things for me, man, like, especially in the progression, like, like, how do I go from here to here? Well, I had to sit down myself and go, all right, you need to start taking these other things seriously. You need to start paying more time and attention to these things, like, so that, yes, for me, that was one of the biggest things, man, just really paying attention to those smaller things in my life that I need to take seriously, man. But yeah.
Yeah, I love it, bro. I love that you shared about outlets. It's like a kettle.
Yeah.
It's like a kettle, bro. 100%, man. It's like that kettle analogy. It's like, when it comes to, moments where it starts to fuse, and like, when the pot starts to fuse, like, you need an outlet. You need an outlet or else you're gonna bottle everything up, right? It's like, you think about that, bro. That's like our life, in terms of negativity. It's like the more that we kind of feel on negativity, we need some sort of outlet, and if we don't, then we're just gonna burst completely. And I guess you learned that, bro. I guess that you had learned that through your experience playing footy, and it's cool that you've actually learned, you've learned something from that, because I believe that there are people out there that are probably still thinking about that moment. It's probably been like 10 years, like it's already 10 years past, and they're still thinking about what happened 10 years ago. And it's really good, man, that, like, I see it as very mature that you had, thought about an outlet. Like, you spoke to your leaders at your church, and you had the right type of people around you, because there are people out there, man, as I mentioned, that don't have the mindset, or they don't have people to kind of talk to or even go up to. They don't have the confidence within themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
And so yeah, bro, it's really good, man. It's really good that you've done that. And so yeah, man, I guess at this point, bro, of the podcast, I wanna talk about what's happening right now. We spoke about your story. We spoke about a bit of your upbringing. Age 10, 15, and how much God's done in your life, bro. I want to talk now about what's happening right now with you. Not really much so as to the COVID season and you being at home, but more so, bro. Like how's how's Trey been knowing that, you know, he's been, you know, like you finished school. Like you finished school, you know, like you're no longer in school now. Like, bro, what's happening in the life of Trey at the moment?
Yeah, man. So I guess ever since school finished, man, like now, look back at it and think, oh, I wish I took school a little bit more seriously.
Oh, 100%, bro. We all say that, man.
Yeah. Like it's different. Like I remember, like, you know, finishing school and thinking to myself, you know, what's next? And I remember, you know, when it came time for me to, you know, sort of figure out where I want to go next, especially with my footy. I remember I had to make a decision where, and you know, on a few clubs, and I remember thinking to myself, you know, where am I gonna go that's gonna push me the most out of my comfort zone? So I thought to myself, you know, I had options, you know, always here in Sydney, and you know, like different clubs and that, and I thought to myself, you know what, I want to push myself, you know, at 17 years old, you know, so I was like, you know, 17 years old, I want to be moved out of home. So I decided, you know what, let's go to Canberra. Let's push myself to the next, you know, just try something else, try something different, test myself in a way I haven't been tested before. So, yeah, man, I packed up everything, moved down to Canberra. I was living with the host family at the time as well. Like, so there's like people that help out the club, and man, like that was awesome. I was staying with this fella, him, his wife, and his little kid. So I was staying with them, and then, you know, months go by, you know, playing footy, you know, doing some work stuff down there as well. You know, like small little jobs for the club and stuff, and then, you know, and then after that, yeah, man, I found myself moving into a share house with heaps of the boys. Like it was like there was like nine of us boys, 2 house parents in the house, man. It was like, you know, it was a mad experience down there in Canberra. So then but then as soon as everything hit, man, sort of everything sort of come down to a little slow right now, man. But man, honestly, like for me right now, man, the season I'm in, I was really enjoying it, man. Like it's been a while since I can say I've enjoyed my footy, and I've enjoyed the space I'm in, especially, you know, the experience of going to a new club and everything, man. Like that for me was just like a massive eye opener. Like you know, I say like you don't know what everything's like until you try it. You know what I mean?
Bro, 100%, man.
So I was like, you know what, I want to chance my hand down in Canberra, and you know, definitely finding. I guess I feel like I found a new home at the moment. You know, so man, honestly, like I'm really enjoying myself. You know, like we still, like me and all the boys, you know, still reminisce about, you know, we all wish we'd done better in high school, man. You know, but man, like, you know, things happen, man, and everything, you know, like everything happens for a reason, man. So I guess the whole idea, like, just for me was to push myself out of my comfort zone the most, man, and you know, and moving down to Canberra was like a massive thing for me because, you know, like at 17, not many people can say, oh yeah, I've actually moved out of home. Like, so I guess that was one of the things that for me is like, you know, to push myself to the next level and just to see what I'm made of as a person as well. So yeah, I guess that's sort of where I'm at the moment, man. Like, besides that, man, like nothing much has been going on this year, man. You know, everything's sort of come to a hold at the moment, you know. So, but yeah, man, that's sort of what's been happening that's sort of me now, man, I guess, since school finished.
Yeah, no, very good, man. Like I actually didn't know that you actually left. Like you left Sydney for that. Like all I knew was that you were playing at Canberra Raiders.
Yeah.
But bro, I love that you shared, bro. I don't know, like, because I'm going through a season now. You know, where I'm starting to, you know, really think about my life and thinking about my future. And bro, I'm in a similar page to you, man. Like I always believe that, you know, diamonds are formed through applied pressure. You know. The only way that you're actually able to be formed, or the gems that you're able to kind of get out of yourself, is through the pressures, right? The pressures that you get, and I guess that's how we can relate in terms of pressure and being out of your comfort zone, getting out of your comfort zone, 100%. And I love that you made that decision at the age of 17. Like if I had to make a decision at 17, I would have done the same thing, but I didn't. I didn't do that, but. People don't realize that, you know, some people kind of like plan things and say, oh, I'm just going to wait till I get this amount of money, or this, like, you know, I'm just going to wait till I feel this comfortable or feel really good about myself. And then I'm going to, go out of my comfort zone. It's like, no, do it now, you know, get out of your comfort zone now, because you will probably learn just as much more through the experience that you have. And really feeling the pressure and getting out of your comfort zone. And so, bro, I guess Bro, how did you feel, man? How did you feel knowing that you went out of your way, being 17 years old and going all the way down to Canberra, like packing everything? Like, how did you feel?
It was a bit strange at first because for the first 5-6 weeks, I was doing the first grade preseason, and I was sort of the youngest one there, and it was a little bit a little bit daunting, and all that stuff, and you sort of feel the pressure of everything, you sort of feel like this is a. I remember the first 5 weeks, man, it was a little bit hard for me because I was like, man, like especially because everyone's so much older, everyone's got their own lives, and then it wasn't until because even I had other boys now that sort of came down and they made the same move as well, from around the joint from New Zealand and Queensland and stuff, and we all sort of made that move together. So I guess it was good to see that I wasn't the only one, as well. Even though it was like I said, it was daunting at first, man, because you go like, man, this is a this is a big move. Like I'm only 17, I should be in school still, but but I was like, what, I guess. Like I said, I just wanted to really see what I'm made of, and it was not that. It's just like you just push yourself to, another level. It gets, especially mentally, it makes you think about things another way. It makes you mature a whole lot faster because now you're thinking. Yeah. Makes you think about your finances. It makes you think about, just all the other stuff that you usually don't worry about. It makes you think about now. All of a sudden, you got to worry about what's going into your body. It's not what mum and dad, are late. It's everything that you got to take, accountability for. And I guess, that was one of the biggest things for me. So I guess, even though it was a challenge, but I guess, I really enjoy that. I enjoy, going into the unknown because I wasn't sure, what Canberra, was like. I've been to Canberra, but I've never, been in Canberra. So I was like, a whole new experience, a whole new challenge. But I guess at the same time, I really enjoyed that, Yeah.
Yeah, bro, this is amazing, man. It's amazing. It's amazing to see that at the end of it all, man, you getting out of your comfort zone and you actually taking the risk to go out there, not knowing what what was actually gonna come, and to see where you are now, man. I feel and I can hear and I can sense that there's a lot more maturity in Trey now because you went through that, which is pretty cool, man. But bro, I guess, man, bro, talk to us a bit about how footy is going, bro. What's the plan? What's the ideal goal for footy? Because,
well, the goal for footy, this year was the goal was to complete the SU ball season and hopefully go into the 20 system and hopefully get a few games there. But now that's sort of come to a hold at the moment due to the whole COVID situation. But I guess next year, man, next year, I guess I want to push for. A top 30 spot. That's something I've always wanted. That's something I feel is achievable, especially getting
100%, bro, 100%.
Getting a taste of it, the year before during the preseason. So I guess next year, the goals that will come. I guess I want to push myself for a top 30 spot in first grade. I guess that's something I want to sort of if I can, I know I can do it. It's just about putting myself in the right position, to do so, and then. I guess, if that doesn't come about, then I guess, either playing, 20s and cup at the moment, just to still try to, make sure I'm playing at a higher level, even though for my age, but still trying to keep myself playing at a, a high level and a high intensity for myself, man. But I guess, I don't know, it's weird for me because I've never been one to sort of set so much footy goals.
Yeah.
I sort of I know what I kind of want, but I won't sit there and write down and be like, I want to so much do this as in footy.
Yeah.
I guess I sort of know, I set sort of, I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost smaller goals in that, if I can nail, this certain amount of work, then that means I can put myself in position for this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I guess the goals are to sort of is to really, especially now during this time, I've got a whole pretty much a few more months, until I go back into preseason. So I guess I want to go into preseason this year with just fitter than I've ever been before, stronger than I've ever been before, faster than I've ever been before. Just put me on a whole nother level. So when I go back, I can showcase, what I'm truly capable of. So I guess at the moment, because when I go back, man, it's all, even though it is a team environment, but it's all competition, man. So I guess, I want to go back and really just showcase what I'm capable of, especially, man, I've got pretty much got a whole year off now. So,
yeah.
So, every day's a grind, train, twice a day, every day. put myself in the, like in the question of, being top 30 next year as well. So yeah. That's definitely for me, man.
Hectic, bro. Hectic, man. Hectic. Bro, I'm keen for you, bro. I'm keen to see where Trey goes, from this. And it's cool because I got your story on here so people can come back and be like, yo, who's Trey? How do I know? It's like, oh, bro, just jump on the Impact Podcast show and you will know. But, bro, I guess, bro, as you start wrapping up this podcast, man, I should say thank you so much for jumping on board, bro, and taking out your time, man. But the last thing I want to ask, bro, I do this for every special guest. I believe that, whatever's in your heart, I feel like, anything that you have inside of you could help someone else out there based on your experience or based on even just the things that you've seen in other people's lives. And so, bro, my question to you, man, just to wrap up this podcast session is, bro, what's something encouraging that you could share to, the people out there based on, the experience that you've had?
It's hard to say, man, but I guess one thing that especially like if there's a lot of younger kids, like, watching and stuff is that don't be shy, like, or don't be disheartened when people start giving it to you in a certain way, man. Like, you got to understand is that, man, you on your own race. Like I said, it's not a 100-meter sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
You're on your own level, and you have to realize that. Like I said, like even for me, man, like it's not. Like I said, it's not. The goal isn't just to make it at NRL at 19. The goal doesn't matter if I'm 28. Doesn't matter if I'm 34. And that doesn't matter as long as you persist on this journey. And one thing I'm gonna say is to don't be afraid of pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Fail, you fail. Failing is all a part. It's all a part of learning. Like for me myself, like one of my biggest fears is failing, but not being good enough. But at the same time, you have to. Like you have to take a few L's before you can get a W. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
Part of the process. And one thing as well, I guess if you're a young person, is that you gotta learn to love the process. You can't expect the end result if you're not willing to put in the countless hours. You like I said, like you have to make sacrifices. You yourself know that you have to make sacrifices, whether it's people, whether it's are negative things in your life, where for even you yourself, you probably know, like how many boys do you know that have fallen short just because they couldn't say no to a bottle?
Oh, 100%, bro.
You know what I mean? And
100%.
Just stuff like that. Like, be prepared to make sacrifice. Be prepared to be different. Just because your journey is a little bit longer and a little bit slower, doesn't mean that it's not worth it. And if anything, I say, you're saying nothing. Just find good people around you. Surround yourself with the right voices, the right people. Put yourself in the right position. Don't surround yourself with things that are going to slow you down. And stop you from getting where you need to go.
Yeah.
I said, put the right people around you, and that's not saying hopefully, but just at the end of the day that you can put yourself in a spot where you at your best, your optimal chance to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if there's one thing last thing I'll say is that the best piece of advice I ever got is you have to have a why.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have a why, doesn't matter how hard you try, doesn't matter what it is, you will fail.
Mm-hmm.
The why isn't greater than every problem or every issue that you come up against, then you will fail. You have to have a why that transcends that. If your why isn't greater and your why doesn't speak volumes of who you are, then there really is no purpose to what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a why. Doesn't mean no one else has to know your why. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if anyone else knows it, but you have to know it, and you have to sit there and meditate on it as well. But yeah, that's the one piece of advice I can give, man. That's it, to be honest.
Yo, finding your why, bro. On point, bro. And I fully agree on that too, man. Guys, find out your why. Figure out why you want to do what you want to do, and that'd be really cool. So, bro, I also say thank you so much for jumping on, man. Right. What's the best way that people can contact or keep connected with you?
Oh, I guess, man, anyone can link to my Insta. Just Trey Mooney, link to my Insta. On my Insta as well, you'll find me on Facebook. You'll find my email in there as well. So yeah, anything, man. Especially through my Insta, pretty easy. You'll be able to connect with me through there any chance.
Yeah, sweet. So for those out there that are listening on Apple Podcast and Spotify, just head over to our Instagram page, and he was actually on our following. So we are following him on the Impact Podcast Show. So he'll be on that list, so you can check him out. But there will also be a post up there too, if you want to go through the quick link for those that are listening. But if you're on YouTube, the links will be down in the description down below for those out there that want to connect with him. But yeah, that is all that we got for this Impact Podcast Show, brother. I also want to say thank you so much for joining on, man. Hope all is well with you and where you're at, and you go well in your season. But guys, that is all that we got. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.